Dear future generations, I think I speak for the rest of us when I say, sorry. Sorry we left you with our mess of a planet. Sorry that we were too caught up in our own doings to do something. Sorry we listened to people who made excuses to do nothing. I hope you forgive us. We just didn't realize how special the earth was. Like a marriage gone wrong. We didn't know what we had until it was gone.
Hello, my name is Paulina Serrano Loyola, and I'm a student from the UVM Querétaro campus, and I will be sharing how I see the world with you. I really hope that if you're watching this, then you care. If that's not the case, I don't really blame you, because who wants to know what a 16-year-old like me has to say about the earth and how it's literally dying in front of my eyes, and we could say in front of yours too. Why do we need to plant trees? Well, you see, over time these trees will be the only reason why are we still alive, and education is key for fighting climate change, protecting life underwater, and for the development of sustainable cities. Without immediate action from all the countries to cut greenhouse emissions, gains in well-being and life expectancy will be compromised, and climate change will have to come to define the health of an entire generation. Imagine that. If we want to protect the children, we need to make sure the air they breathe isn't toxic. Adults are not dumb. And because of that, since elementary, I remember all of my teachers telling us how this world will eventually rely on us. But I also remember how they will get mad of how some 14-year-olds could be that irresponsible. I remember how having talks about taking care of the planet were really important. Just like wearing deodorant after gym class. In my opinion, it really helped me to make my own ideas on this topic and to debate with my friends about climate change. But is it enough to debate about climate change at school to save the world? Well, through climate change education, schools have an opportunity to teach their students to evaluate a variety of evidence and then draw their own conclusions. Also creates deep thinking, engaged, and self-aware students. Education is key for human beings to exist, and climate change is not the exception. Because it is important to prepare new generations to think differently from the adults, so that maybe, and just maybe, we should be able to find a possible way to stop this. I remember this time when I was in Cancun with my family, and it was my first time snorkeling. So I put my equipment on and I was ready to go. But the fun part was when I was on this huge rock just chilling for a few minutes. And then I went back to my mom. The first thing she said to me was, "How cool was that fish right there? It was beautiful, right?" And I said, "Mom, that's an actual rock." She said to me laughing, "No, that's a giant fish that can actually camouflage." After that moment, I got chills. But most importantly, I realized how I wasn't really aware of life underwater. It is really common, sadly. We hurt animals and we don't even realize it. We need to stop hurting life underwater and actually taking care of animals. The oceans are hugely important to all of our lives. They absorb 30% of the human-produced carbon dioxide. They produce a significant proportion of our animal protein, providing products that are useful in medicine, and they also buffer against the devastation caused by natural disasters. More than 3 billion of people depend on marine and coastal biodiversity for their livelihoods. The world's oceans' temperature, chemistry, currents, and life drive global systems that make the air habitable for humans. So the least we can do is to return the favor to the ocean by taking care of the life underwater. Before living in Querétaro, I lived in Mexico City, to be specific, in not a very beautiful part. So when I moved here, I could actually see a difference, like having green areas, no traffic, peace and quiet environments, and most importantly, a sustainable culture. These are some elements of a sustainable city. I love Querétaro, and I think we need to plan or convert more cities to be like this one. Making this will produce more efficiency in every aspect you can think of, like the correct management of natural resources, less pollution, conservation of green areas and species. It is really important to create or transform normal cities into sustainable ones. Cities occupy just the 3% of the Earth's land, but account for 60 to 80% of the energy consumption and at least 70 of the carbon emissions. In the coming decades, 90% of the urban expansion will be in the developing world. COVID-19 is affecting the lives of millions of people and also the environment. The CO2 emissions and human mobility have been reduced, which improves air quality and encourages wild animals to come out and explore cities. But how sustainable is this positive effect in the long term, you may be asking? Scientists have confirmed the air quality in certain regions has improved in recent weeks. As industry, aviation, and other means of transportation stopped, air pollution is reduced in countries severely affected by the virus, such as China, Italy, and Spain. A reduction in commuting due to work from home policies has also played its part in reducing carbon emissions. Change might be scary a lot of the time, but trust me in this one when I say that it is for humanity's good to transform all of the cities to be sustainable in order to have a clean development. What I mean by saying this is growing in a friendly way with the planet. Yeah, it is possible. Why is this so important? The COVID-19 pandemic will offer lessons and opportunities leading to environmental action. For instance, we will have a new baseline of what can be achieved digitally, remote work, education, shopping, and more. In addition, as our governments, private institutions, and even social media succeed in partnering, we will possibly feel more capable of tackling other pressing issues such as climate change. Our response to this health crisis will shape how we will deal with climate crisis in the next decades. Times of change can lead to the introduction of long-lasting sustainable habits. For example, the reduction of travel, personal consumption, and food waste. A tip that I can give you is to be more careful when a teenager like me wants to tell you the way he or she sees things, because it could get really deep, just like this conversation, or it can get really dumb in so little time. I really hope that you share what you think was the most important thing about this with others, and that you will be able to teach these others about this topic, about climate change. My name is Paulina Serrano Loyola, and tell me, why do we need to plant trees?